Hello, everybody. Good evening in Thyroid Healthy Balance. I'm just going to take my time to get started tonight because this is a completely different time to what we normally do. Normally, we are bright and early in the morning or in the middle of the day. And this time round, I've decided to do an evening just to really be available for you guys, in your downtime. So if you're jumping on it or if you've intended to jump on, welcome, welcome to Thyroid Healthy Balance. If you're new to the group, a very warm welcome. This is one of many lives that I deliver. And tonight it is a very special topic because it's really speaking generally into autoimmunity and looking at what I feel and I believe are the three most important life-changing steps to halting autoimmunity. Okay, so, we've got so many things to do when we have an autoimmune issue. And sometimes it's about, well, before I go into I have to do this and I have to do that, sometimes we need to just take a breath and really feel into what it actually means. What is autoimmunity and the many dimensions and layers that actually involves and includes. And this pretty much mirrors the level of healing that is required to actually halt autoimmunity. So if you're coming in and if you're jumping in, please say hello. Let me know that you're here. Quite a few of you have asked for the replay. If you're jumping on for the replay, please do a hashtag replay so that I know that you're here and I can be better placed to connect and answer any questions along the way. Okay, so fantastic. And I've got Shell here on board. So Shell's going to be, typing in some little cues and questions that I'm going to be putting to the group because whether you're here live or on the recording, this is very interactive. So just for you to know, in the coming days, I'm going to be interacting back in on this channel, in this live, so that you can have all of your questions answered and really feel that, I've actually received the amount of service that I'm actually wanting to give this evening. Okay, so 3 life-changing steps to halt autoimmunity. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to break down. This is going to be roughly an hour long. So grab a cup of tea, grab some water. If you have to go and do that, that's fine. Come back, please come back. And essentially the first part of it, I'm just going to do a little summary. I'm going to be talking about root causes of specifically Hashimoto's and Graves' disease as the two autoimmune or two sides to the same coin, really, for thyroid wellness. But also these root causes actually apply to many autoimmune conditions and actually many health conditions. Okay, so I find it always interesting that, the channel in which, a root cause will manifest in one or another individual. And it really is very, very complex. It depends on your genetic picture and the way you're living your life and all of those little combinations or little infractions that actually add up to essentially find that leak or that hole in the bucket, which is your health, to then manifest as disease. Yeah. So what we want to do when we're looking at healing is plug those holes, but there's actually so much more that we need to do from the get-go of that. Okay. So in the beginning, I'm just going to be doing a little bit of a overview, some education around what autoimmunity is and the layers to that and different root causes. Sorry, I do have my notes here so that I can keep on track. And then the second part of this masterclass, we're going to be doing more, connecting into the 3 life-changing steps. It's not just, step 1, step 2, step 3. Oh, good, I'll do those steps, I'm done. These are life-changing steps. So these steps are so much more than halting your autoimmunity, because they're actually setting the pathway forward for your longevity in health. And that is actually my wish for every single human being on the planet. And you know what? We all have the capability if we take a breath and listen in, right? Okay, so I'm going to be getting into that in the second half, and I'm going to be asking some questions around that. Okay, so I hope that's all good, and certainly ask some questions along the way, and let's get started. All right, so first of all, let me just do a little bit of an introduction, especially for the new people. I've had quite a few new people come into the group recently over the last couple of weeks. So my name is Megan Taslaman. I'm very, very passionate about thyroid wellness. One of the reasons for this is because I have had Hashimoto's, which is in remission, but I've had Hashimoto's pretty much when I found that out was roughly 10 years ago now, 10, 12 years ago, actually probably a little bit longer. And, you know, I mean, just like a lot of people, you know, I didn't really have a sound understanding of what that was and what that meant. And it was really interesting because at the same time, I was, well, actually much longer than that, from 2011, I was, you know, really embarking on my naturopathy training, my degree in naturopathy. But I've been in the health and wellness industry since 2002, starting off with holistic aromatherapy, then going into remedial massage and reflexology. And then I was kind of like, well, I want to know what's going on the inside of the body. So very kinesthetic in the way that I heal, and very holistic. Okay. So, and then in 2015, I had a practice. I started my practice in DY, and now I practice online. I've moved up the coast. I literally changed my life. I flipped everything to honor myself and my health and my family's health, really, you know, to heal and to just, you know, feel the very best that I can feel with my health. Yeah. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And I'm here available as a naturopath to you, either online or in person. I also have a few days at the Wellness Path, which is a beautiful, beautiful environment up in Nelson Bay, which is around about half an hour from here. So I have two locations, one in Madawi, one in Nelson Bay. So you can reach me at any time and we can have a chat if you're looking for support. Okay, so let's dive in. Okay, so first of all, just to give you a bit of an overview of thyroid wellness. So we all have a thyroid, and it's one of the most underdiagnosed health conditions on the planet. And a lot of people are walking around with a subclinical or suboptimal thyroid issue, and they don't even know it. And that is a fact. And the reason why I know this is because the pathology that is actually, you know, ordered to diagnose thyroid issues is very, very limited because of the budgeting with Medicare. And often thyroid conditions are missed. And then when there's a trigger in life that actually creates that cascade of ill health, that's when sometimes a deeper dive is done with pathology, and that's when it's picked up. And that's really quite frustrating because that time is actually what I call the golden opportunity for healing. Because when we know what's going on before all of our symptoms have manifested, that's when we have that golden opportunity to recalibrate and to heal and to reverse what damage has been done and to actually, you know, halt that and stop it from actually getting worse. Yeah, because we know that what happens is, you know, with our health, you know, it can sometimes take 10 years for something to fully manifest as an actual disease. So a lot of disease states are actually subclinical, meaning that you've got a couple of signs and symptoms and the pathology isn't optimal, but it's also not showing, it's not too negative either. So that's where we know, okay, it's kind of heading in the wrong direction. Let's really regroup and get this on track. Yeah. Okay, so more women than men suffer from thyroid issues, particularly the autoimmune type because of the hormonal element involved. And, we've got hypothyroidism, which is often caused by Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's being the autoimmune component. If it's just hypothyroidism without any Hashimoto's, hence the autoantibodies, well, then it's local to the thyroid gland and generally entangled within the endocrine system as an actual trigger for that to have manifested, or some other issue. It can come from higher up from the pituitary as well. There are quite a few different ways or causes to thyroid disease. Now, with Graves, same thing, can be the same root causes. It's autoimmune, but more in the way that, it manifests different signs and symptoms, that they are hyper, so completely different types of signs and symptoms. However, there is a common thread of fatigue and really just feeling really unwell. Okay, so a common thread, headaches, and just generalized fatigue. It's very, very strong with both conditions. So I like to say it's really two sides to the same coin, because you can also have a thyroid condition that manifests as one, and then under a different set of environmental circumstances, i.e. later on down the track, it can flip into the other. Yeah, almost like a yo-yo. Yeah. So just because you've got one doesn't mean that that's all you're going to have either, right? So we kind of need to really look at this from a holistic point of view. Okay, moving forward. All right. So let me just so that's the four types of main autoimmune. So hypothyroid, hypothyroid, Hashimoto's, and Graves, and then of course we've got thyroiditis. These are just other names for it. We've got goiter, which is a manifestation of either Hashimoto's or Graves, which is like a protrusion. And we've got nodules, we've got lots of different variances on those, but essentially they are the overarching diagnosis. Okay, so there are many other types of autoimmune diseases, and I feel that the reason why I've crafted these 3 life-changing steps, which I believe are the 3 main steps, is because autoimmune diseases tend to hang out with each other. They are like a family, yeah? So it is not uncommon for us to see 1, 2, or 3 grouped together. And sometimes it's underdiagnosed. And I always, with all of my clients, I might just like do a little flag of a parameter, just kind of flag it and explain it so that the client can understand and know that, it may not stop here. There may be another domino to fall. Now, that's not to instill any fear or anything like that. It just happens to be a fact. And that's why it is crucially important that we not only identify the root cause or causes, but really seek that deep level of healing and commitment to heal the root cause and ameliorate the triggers. Okay, because you can have what you think is a root cause, like stress, but it might be for you, it might be that it's something else that's underneath that stress, and the stressful event triggered it. Okay, so sometimes we think that that's a root cause, but it actually may be something else that's underneath, and then those events trigger it. So that's why I like to say there's root causes and there's triggers, exacerbating factors. That I really very much doubt that there's ever one root cause. I feel like that's a combination of factors that have produced the imperfect storm, if you like. Okay. All right. So just looking at this, to see my glasses. I've got some notes here. So the root causes. Now, before we get into that, I just want to ask a question for those of you who are here and listening, and for those who come in on the replay. If you know your root cause or root causes, as I'm going through this list, please type them in the chat. Yeah, because it's really, really good for you to actually go, oh yeah, no, that's the root cause for me. And then it's going to start that thought process of you really thinking about that on a whole new level. Yeah, because when we identify with something, we don't want to actually identify with something in terms of being a label for us, but it's really important to identify with it from the point of view of being able to address it from a holistic point of view to heal all aspects of that root cause or causes. Okay, so I'm going to go through the list. So we've got a lot of you who have listened to my lives before, and a lot of you who have worked with me will know that the gut, the digestive system, is a prominent feature with autoimmune disease from the point of view of gut infections. So bacterial infections, yeast infections that overwhelm the system, viruses, parasites, all of those things that may be low-grade chronic going on for quite some time, or it might be something that's quite severe and acute that triggers some other things that are going on, like dysbiosis, which dysbiosis isn't actually an infection, that is an imbalance, okay? So there's a difference there. And it could be something like, you've always had bloating, but you've thought that that's normal, so you've just ignored it. So it's not really causing you any problems, but you might have always had bloating, or you've always had flatulence, or you've noticed that you've always had very unimpressive stools, whatever it is, but you've just kind of ignored it because it's not really impacted your life so much. But it's really important to just take note of these things and just think, well, is this my normal, or is this something that can be improved upon? Yeah, because there's always room for improvement, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so also another thing is, in terms of digestive system or any event, a time in your life where you've never been the same since. Okay, if you really just, feet on the floor and just really feel into it and just think back, when was it in my life, where there was an event, something happened, or, you got really sick and you've never really been the same since. It might be that from that point forward, you've always had that chronic fatigue, or from that point forward, you've just really struggled to get out of bed, or you've just had that little bit of brain fog, that cloud that's really, impacted your life, impacted your quality of life. Or you might have had some digestive symptoms, or quite a few things since a particular event or time. And that could be a stressful event. It could be when you gave birth to your child. It could be when you had glandular fever. It's going to be different for different people. And one person's cause won't be someone else's cause, because we're all completely different and unique individuals. Yeah. So just, even if you might even identify it now, and you're very welcome to pop it in the chat. And, just to honor yourself, the honesty of that, like, when was it when, you really haven't been the same since that occasion or event? Other things, postpartum, pregnancy, menopause, puberty, all of these life stages, which is why it is more prevalent amongst women than men, okay, because of all of these different life stages that us women have. And, common themes for that, and I suppose links with Hashimoto's or underactive thyroid, polycystic ovarian syndrome or PCOS, PMS, those types of hormonal imbalances, or, unregulated menopausal symptoms, perimenopause. Now, these can be triggers to a thyroid issue or triggers for autoimmunity as well, okay? Also, vitamin D deficiency, very clear link there with autoimmune issues, or autoimmune disease, I should say. As I mentioned, poor digestive function, pregnancy, menopause, stress. So, poor response to stress, because stress is quite subjective, but I'm just going to say like a poor or suboptimal response to stress. What I mean by that is chronic stress that just kind of throws you out on a daily basis. Yeah, I mean, the body can only take so much, before those dominoes are going to fall. Genetic predisposition is another one. Some people are actually born with a thyroid issue, or a genetic, like the HLA group of genes. It doesn't preordain you to autoimmune thyroiditis or Graves' disease or Hashimoto's or any other autoimmune disease such as MS or rheumatoid arthritis, or, you know, I mean, the list goes on, even fibromyalgia, all of these types of autoimmune issues. However, if you've got the HLA gene group, it just predisposes you to a higher risk. So for that group of people, you know, you really want to ensure that you've got all those parameters in place for you to, you know, live your best healthy life. Environmental stress. Now, I cannot place more emphasis on that. That can absolutely be a root cause in terms of mold coming through the home, in terms of heavy metals through your water system, or your halogens such as your chlorine, etc., through your water system, like the water that you drink and bathe in. Heavy metals, as I've mentioned. So overwhelming toxins to the body. So, you know, our liver is working 24/7 to detoxify. And when it becomes overwhelmed, that's when, you know, things can go a bit skewy in our body. You know, I mean, even cancer is actually an autoimmune disease. Yeah. So cancer, I'm just going to talk a little bit about this, you know, like the big C, you know, that everyone's really very, very fearful of. You know, we've all got cancer cells in our body, and that is just a fact. You know, they are floating in around you right here, right now, in me as well, in everybody. Okay, so it's when our body is overwhelmed that then takes on a growth of its own with the environmental factors, for whatever it is, you know, like the genes load the gun, the environment pulls the trigger, as a very well-known saying. And, you know, I mean, yeah, so that as well, right, is a manifestation. Okay, healing past traumas, so more of an emotional link there, like a past trauma that's actually held in the body tissue and it's unresolved and it hasn't been looked at. So there's that component, which could be compounded on other more physical layers. And, you know, emotional intelligence as well. I'm just going to bring that in. You know, like, is there an emotion? Is there like an emotional outlet that's never been resolved? Yeah, that's kind of led you to bad habits or bad behavior or even self-neglect. Yeah, so all of these types of things. So you can see that there's this list probably goes on for so much more. So yeah, if you feel like you'd like to list your root causes, please do so. So Emma says root causes that I'm aware of were stress and mold plus genetic predisposition. Yes, absolutely. That's right, Emma. And yeah, absolutely. So, you know, if you're coming on later on, so Emma, yeah, so that's the thing, like you when you know what it is, then you know how to treat it, right? So, you know, Emma and I have, you know, you would have seen this group before, you know, have worked together diligently, and knowing what it is and then being able to work on that level to heal that aspect is kind of like plugging one of the holes or several of the holes in the bucket. Okay, and then we move on from there. All right, so okay, if there is something that I've mentioned and it's kind of triggering you, or you're unsure, you're unclear, and at this point in time you're actually thinking, well, you know, I'm actually unsure of what my root cause is or causes, and, you know, I wouldn't mind to have a little discussion. Right here, right now, I'm inviting you to book a call with me to have a chat. This is obligation free. And I'm just going to say this right now. A couple of people, or several people actually, that I've been chatting to over the last couple of weeks, you know, when I'm chatting, I'll chat so far, then I'll say, you know what, let's just jump on a call. That's just how I roll. It's obligation free. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm very kinesthetic. Hence I'm moving my hands. I kind of need to feel you in a way. Like I need to kind of come into your energy so that I can actually see, connect so that I can give the best advice. Typing can only go so far for me. So that's you'll generally get it. If you're asking a couple of questions in a private message, I will generally invite you to book a Zoom call. Okay. So then it's up to you. You can either take that invitation or not. All right. So second part of this masterclass, I just really want to get into the thing now, the three things, the three life-changing steps. These are steps that I have done and am still doing. Okay. There's steps and you could also say there's stages. Yeah. I am still tapping in every day and checking in that I'm doing this. My past clients have done these steps as well. Okay. And this is the thing, sometimes we get fixated on what it is we have to do, what supplements we have to take, what extra things we have to do, and if we're just focusing on the doing, it can be incredibly stressful. And, although we don't want it, it could actually be placing more stress on you. And we don't want that either when we're trying to heal an autoimmune condition. Okay, so I'm going to get into number one. So step one is taking ownership. Taking ownership. All right. Now, feel into what that actually means. When you're taking the level of ownership where you are all in for you, for your health. Okay. Like your body is on your side. Sometimes it's our mind that just has these unrealistic expectations, and our body is kind of left behind, because the mind can literally have a mind of its own and be wanting one thing, but the body is really needing something else. So taking ownership, having the awareness and really feeling into what your body is requiring, what steps you need to take to halt your autoimmunity. Okay, now you may not know what those steps are, so that's where we break it down. But before we go into steps, which is doing, we really need to embody the ownership and responsibility, to be all in. Because if you're coming into this new, if you've just been diagnosed, or if you've been diagnosed for some time, but you're not really getting any resolve, what else is getting in the way? Or do you have an expectation for someone else to actually heal you? Do you have an expectation for the medication to heal you, for the supplementary protocol to heal you, for the practitioner or the doctor or the specialist to heal you? I'm going to tell you now, it's got to come from within. So until you actually, and this may be triggering, until you actually step up for yourself, step up to deliver the level of care that your body is craving, is wanting, is needing from you, well, then unfortunately, I don't feel that you're going to be able to heal the autoimmunity, because other things are getting in the way. Yeah. Because sometimes our mind, and it's almost like we have a hissy fit. Oh, why did that happen to me? Oh, why have I got this? Oh, I'm missing out. This has happened, and all of that. I mean, whilst that might be an emotion that you need to release, after a period of time, you just want to, go, what? Okay, I'm just going to get this emotional maturity now, and just harness this. This is what it is, and start to really feel into What happened way back when that started the cascade to trigger this autoimmunity? Was it a gut infection? Was it a traumatic birth for either you or your child? Was it, any number of things? Was it an incredibly stressful period of time? Yeah. And then, take ownership for the healing of that. It's a wound. If we just dust that under the carpet or band-aid it with a medication or a supplementary protocol, well, there's only so far you'll go with your healing before it stops at a brick wall. Okay, so you might get to that point where you're actually starting to feel a little bit better, but then it will stop. Right, so this is a really, really important point wherever you are with your healing. And I remind myself of this as well, because, sometimes I think, oh, I'm not really feeling that great, or I'm this or that, or, whatever it is. And I think, okay, so what have I actually been doing for myself? And sometimes our mind can be disconnected from our body and can be racing ahead, wanting to do this, that, and the other. And our body's being left behind and not being nurtured the way it should if you have an autoimmune condition. All right. So, of course, the actual intricate steps involved for your healing, the supplements that you choose for your healing, and medication's another thing. I'm going to actually talk about that in a moment. Whilst all of those things are going to be very bespoke and very tailored and very individual for each and every person, overarching all of that is for you to actually take ownership. And it doesn't mean, and I'm not talking about being rigid and beating yourself up and missing out on life. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about embodying the responsibility for you to heal your body. Because I'm telling you now, we all have that power. We all have that innate wisdom. And that's why for example, my approach to healing, for myself, and when I work with clients that come in to work with me, my approach is to work with you, to work with you, because there's only so much that I or any practitioner can do. We can shine the light, but you've got to walk the path. Yeah. And it can be incredibly supportive if you're doing it linking arms with a practitioner or, a naturopath, a healer, whoever it is that you choose to walk that with you. It can be incredibly supportive, or even with a group of people. Yeah. But number one is taking ownership. And then with that ownership, you'll be motivated to search for the root causes, for the exacerbating factors, for all of those little triggers that trip you up, because with autoimmunity, absolutely there's healing, but it's almost like, because that it's almost like, it's really interesting in the body. Like whenever there's been an illness or a sickness, it's almost like the body's nervous system knows how to go down that pathway again, So it's like, I'm not going to say you're never truly healed, because you are. However, if suddenly you think, okay, I'm healed, now I'm going to go back to doing this and that and all those negative habits that you have finally, removed from your life because you took ownership and you created a brand new rituals for yourself and a brand new way of doing things and your dietary regime, and you're feeling great. The idea is to embody that for the rest of your life, because if you then just go, okay, I'm healed, that's done, tick the box, and then go back to your old ways, guess what's going to happen? You can all guess, right? Probably have a little relapse or a flare or something like that. So it's really, really important to take that ownership, yeah? And to really get to know, because then for most of my clients that are healed like 75% plus. You know, they know their bodies intricately, so they know that they can do X, Y, and Z, and it's not really going to touch the sides, because then they're going to come back and go back into their dietary and lifestyle blueprint that actually brought them to the healing place that they've embodied. Yeah. All right. So taking ownership, very, very important. Now, what else have I got to say about that? Just it's really about your attitude. You know, it's about your attitude. You know, it's not something that's, when you have ill health, it's not something that's been done for you. It's not that done to you, I should say. It's not that, you know, you're being punished in any way or form. There's actually a message in the illness that you are required to learn. There's a message, you know, whether it's, and it can be anything from, you know, maybe there's a past trauma that you have just been dusting under the carpet forever and a day. And maybe it's time right now to look at that, to actually heal that wound. Yeah. Or maybe it's something that you're doing in your lifestyle that really doesn't serve you, and that is holding you back from reaching a whole new level. When I say level, I don't really like that. It sounds like a hierarchy, but your level, a level of what you can feel in your life, right? Maybe there's something that's holding you back from experiencing so much more vibrancy, so much more joy, so much more peace, so much more love. Okay, so there's always a message in the illness if we're willing to take ownership and look. Be still and look. Seek out the message. All right. Number two, create space. Now, this is so important. We need to create the space for us to heal. Because again, coming back to that scenario where we're going into the doing, I've got to do this, I've got to get up an extra 15 minutes to do my exercise, I've got to, you know, stay up late to do my healthy eating plan, to cook my gluten-free bread recipe, you know, whatever it is. If we just swing into that without creating the pathway, without creating the space, well, then again, it's just going to put more stress on you. Because you know what? We've all got the same amount of time in every given day, which is 24 hours. And there's an element of us building our nervous system capacity so that we're able to, you know, take on a little bit more. And that comes through with the healing as well. But in the beginning, especially if you're newly diagnosed or you've had a flare or a relapse, or you actually have no idea what's going on, you've just come into this group and you're just really not well and not feeling well, well, taking ownership of yourself and then creating the space for you to do the necessary steps, you know, and it might be actually triggering for you, and it might be challenging, and it might take, I don't know, a couple of weeks or a couple of months for you to actually create that space. You know, it might be something that's really quite daunting for you. For example, it might be you might need to change your job, or, you know, actually go from full-time to part-time, or something else, you know, get some help with the kids, or, you know, any number of things, you know. So with this very, very important step to healing, you know, I advise you to just really ground yourself and really feel into where in your life you can create space for you to heal, for you to do the things that are going to equip you with healing, for you to rest, for you to sleep without judgment during the day. Nana naps are good, you know. They are good. If your body needs it, you have a nap without guilt, without judgment on self, because that's just going to sabotage you as well. Yeah. Investing your time and energy to heal by creating space. Yeah. So it's really, really important. And if you think about it, if you're taking the ownership and then you've actually gone to that level of drilling down in, you might have done some functional testing, you know, and you might have found the root cause. The root causes, you've got your supplementary regime, you've got your dietary regime, you've got a really good kickstart, you know, of where to go from here on in. To be able to implement those into your life, there needs to be space. There needs to be space. Yeah? Really, really important. So on that, you know, I find, you know, one of the biggest obstacles to healing that I witness with clients and just people in general is I don't have enough time. You know, now be honest, how many of you here don't have enough time? You know, I mean, look, I've said it before, you know, I'm human. I've heard myself say, oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I can't do it. I don't have enough time. You know, whenever I say that now, if I'm actually witness and catch myself saying I don't have enough time, I just go, oh, and I just, you know, third person observer, oh, Megan, you don't have enough time. Okay, what's crowding your life? You know, what is crowding your life so that you now are limited in your capacity to heal because you don't have enough time? You know, what else has encroached? You know, since when did something else become a higher priority than your health? Now, I have always said that health is my highest priority. So why should that change 2, 3 months, 2, 3 years, 10 years down the track? Yeah? Where is health on your priority list? You know, I'm just telling you now, sometimes work has to take second, third, fourth, or even fifth. Because, you know, it's not our fault. We're kind of morphed into a society where, you know, we've got to work. You know, we've got to work. And for some people, it's 2, 3 jobs. For some people, it's, you know, stuff from a, you know, early childhood that's actually triggered them to just devour work and not have any time for anything else. You know, I mean, how many of you see a gap and fill it? It's like, oh, okay, I'm doing this today. Oh, there's a 2-hour gap. Oh, I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll do this, right? Write it now. How many of you fill the spaces in your day with other stuff, whether it's a job, whether it's a task, you know? I mean, sometimes it's just good to keep the spaces so that we can actually smell the roses. You know, stop and smell the roses. That's an old saying. You know, we want to be able to stop and smell the roses. You know, if you've got a half-hour space in your day, leave it as a space. In fact, block it out and say, my time. And even if it's just laying on the floor and doing some deep breathing with your hand on your heart, or sending some love to your thyroid, massaging your neck and breathing and just really just calming your nervous system down and recalibrating your nervous system and just breathing, just connecting to your breath. You know, at the end of the day, all we need is our breath. And we need water and food and shelter. We need all of those things too. But sometimes, you know, we we orchestrate our stress by piling ourselves up, by putting all of the things on our plate, adding to our to-do list. And if somebody else is adding to your to-do list, well, that's a little red flag for a boundary issue. That's where it's like, well, what's going on there? So shine the light on that and have a look at that and see how you go in putting in a boundary, or seek some help with that, so that you can actually honor your body with what it deserves and create some space for you to heal. Right? Whether you come and work with me, whether you're working with somebody else, whatever you're doing for yourself, there needs to be space for you to, yes, do the things, do the dietary protocol, do, all of the things that are great for you as a unique individual, for you to heal, and also for you to rest, and also for you to tune into your breath, and just be still. Just feel into what your body needs. You might even want to do it now. Just take a deep breath, bare feet flat on the floor so that you can ground really, really well. And just take a few nice deep breaths and just feel into, like, what does your body need? What does it need the most? And honor your body. All right, so number 3, I'm just looking at the time. So number 3, proactivity is a daily action. So this is really, really important as a third life-changing step or stage to halt your autoimmunity. Yeah. So we don't just find out what's going on, create the space, and then go, oh, yeah, no, I'll deal with that next week. It's really about taking that responsibility and that level of ownership of your body and understanding of your body to really learn more and connect in with your body's inner wisdom. Because our body knows, it actually knows how to heal. We are sovereign individuals. We know how to heal. Yeah, if we actually are still and we learn to tune in, whether it's through meditation or prayer or breathing, breath work, music, whatever it is for you to calm your nervous system, be still, recalibrate, and tune in on an intracellular level, right in the inner cell. You actually know what to do. And then we need to take those daily action steps. Be proactive. Yeah. And it doesn't mean, excuse me, it doesn't mean piling yourself up with all of the things to do. Excuse me. I'm not talking about proactivity. I'm not talking about piling up your plate. I'm just talking about, some small actionable steps for you to do on a daily basis to honor yourself and honor your body, that healing time. So it might be, even just, wherever you're at, whether you've had a practitioner, whether you've worked with me before, and a lot of you in here have, or if you're working with someone else, like really, like I don't mind, this is your choice, right? This is just, hopefully you'll be able to really grasp the awareness of how important this step is, to be proactive in your daily actions. Yeah, so what do you do to fuel your body? How do you create your meals? How do you shop? Yeah, what's the first thing you do in the morning? What's a really healthful daily ritual for you, or daily sequence for you? Is it to get up in the morning and get out on the grass and, I don't know, have gratitude, express gratitude? That'd be a good one. Is it to have a nice warming cup of tea? Is it to pat your animals? Is it to play with your kids? Is it to meditate? You know, what is it that you're doing in the morning that's setting you up for the day, for an amazing day, for the best possible day, that's going to honor your body, the healing that it requires, and also just kind of like open the channel for the day to allow you to, you know, be the best version of yourself for that day without judgment. You know, because, you know, I feel that we're all here to learn and to be of service, you know, to better ourselves and to be of service, you know, to humanity, to the community, within your job, within your family unit, you know, with your partner, to yourself. Yeah. So part of healing is really becoming the best version of yourself on all levels. Now, if you're new in this group, and you haven't received or you would like a copy of the first pillar to thyroid wellness, which really looks at the physical layer to thyroid wellness, it's an ebook that I've written. Just, you know, type first pillar here or ebook, ebook or first pillar, and we'll get a copy to that, a copy of that for you. We will need your email address. So, you know, you could just privately message us as well, and we can get that to you. So coupled with that is the second, third, and fourth pillar, okay, which those three are unwritten, but a lot of that comes through in the way in which I help clients, right? So we've got the second pillar, which is the emotional well-being, the third pillar, which is the mental well-being. Mental meaning, like, you know, our self-talk, the stories that go on in our mind, how that may perpetuate stress, how that may sabotage our success, all of those things. And then we've got the energetic layer or spiritual layer, you know, whatever that is for you. Yeah, whatever that is for you, your connection to something greater, something greater. Yeah, because that connection can absolutely help ground you in your healing. Yeah. So there's the 4 pillars to thyroid wellness, which is really a holistic picture. Yeah. You know, if we just look at the physical and don't look at the other layers, we're only going to get so far. We may have some symptom improvement, and we may start to, you know, our energy may pick up, we may feel better, but we're only going to get so far. Yeah, so then we've got the 4 pillars to thyroid wellness. And what anchor those pillars are the 3 life-changing steps, such as taking ownership, creating space, and being proactive with daily actions. Okay. So just to give you an example of a daily action, you know, recently I have written or rewritten actually and created my 7-day sugar detox mini course, which used to be a free challenge for many years, and then it was a bit of an ebook. And anyway, now I've developed it into a mini course, because that is an example. Like, if you have no clue where to start, you don't know what to do for yourself, you know, you kind of you know, teetering on the edge of, you know, what do I really do, and you're just wanting to do something for yourself. A proactive step would be to clean up your diet. Just clean up your diet. And that 7-day sugar detox mini course will actually provide you with the resources and the tools and the support through my recorded videos. So this is a do-it-yourself, it's self-paced. You can actually obtain that, Shell, if you want to put the link in there now. You know, if you'd like to obtain that, it's $88, and it is there and it's yours for life. You'll get a daily drip feed of emails with a recording from me with a daily focus point, which is really about, it's a proactive step actually. And then we've got the resource guide, which is, I think it's 80 pages now. It used to be 30 pages, and it's, it's all encompassing now. So it's there as a resource for you for life. Whenever your diet goes off track, whenever the wheels fall off, Christmas time, whatever, we all have those, habits that can potentially come back or creep back into our life under certain circumstances. So that's an example of, for the next 7 days, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean up my diet, get rid of all of those little things that have snuck back in, and just reset myself. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Is that alone going to heal your autoimmunity? Of course it's not. Of course not. There's so many more elements to healing than that. However, it really is a gateway or a reset wherever you are on your healing journey. Yeah. So get your hands on that if you're wondering what to do for yourself, where to start, and you're just feeling a little bit subpar, and you might be thinking, oh, take ownership. Okay, but now what do I do? I'm taking ownership. Well, there you go. Take ownership. And this is what you can do. You can actually commit to a 7-day cleanse, to a 7-day reset. That's an example. If you've already worked with me for a period of time, you know what to do. Yeah, because we've done it. We've done it throughout the time that we worked together. So, it just, feel into, how to tune into your body. Feel into your body. What do you need to do? Be still. Connect to your breath. Maybe do a little meditation or listen to some music. Allow all thoughts to go out of your mind so that you can actually hear what your body's trying to tell you, rather than trying to think up the next thing to do for yourself. Yeah, our body has all the messages and it has all the answers. Yeah. All right. So that being said, we've come to the conclusion of this masterclass. I just want to honour the time that I've been here, and I thank everyone that has jumped on here live today. I'm going to have a look in the chat and actually answer any questions. Again, if anyone's coming in after this live masterclass, and please put your cues in, ask the questions, and over the next couple of days I will come back to this feed and connect with you. And you know what, if you're just here and you're feeling inspired, or you resonate with what I'm saying, or you feel like you're just like a sounding board, this is my invitation to you. I invite you to connect with me over an obligation-free call. It's not a sales call. It is a connection call. It is for me to connect with you, to get to know you a little better, to understand, what you've been going through and how your thyroid issues have been impacting your life, so that I can help you shift through that and, create a pathway for you. And then whether or not you come to work with me is completely up to you. All right, that's it from me today. Blessings to everyone. And thank you again for this late night, Wednesday night, for jumping on. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.